But we were back at practice again this past weekend, and practices 3 and 4, the first two practices with shoulder pads of camp. The team has the day off today. They're checking into the hotel today, which is the other great Ohio State media tradition of standing around and shooting photos and videos of the players as they enter the hotel, and as regular guests of the hotel wonder what famous person is staying. Is this Taylor Swift? Is she at this hotel? Is this who is here? Because why is all this paparazzi here? So that's today, and it's tradition. So we'll all be there. But I think a couple of takeaways from practice. I think Will Howard is clearly the number one right now, and it's just confirmed that I believe he will be the starter. Uh, Carnell Tate has been fantastic. I think we don't maybe talk about him enough. He's continued to make some really good catches and really strong against really, really good coverage. And we know the secondary is pretty good. I think the offensive line has been interesting. That I think you're seeing Seth McLaughlin is clearly the starting center. Carson Hinsman been battling an illness. He missed the first practice. Ryan Day said it was with an illness. He's been playing guard. And right now it's like Luke Montgomery has been playing. He's been the number 2 center. So they've moved him even further inside. And it seems like they're trying to get him ready to be the backup for Seth. And Carson is going to battle with Tegra Shabola at guard. And we'll see how that shakes out. But that's just a handful of things I've seen. I've been impressed with the freshman running backs as well. Sam Williams-Dixon has had a really good couple of days. James Peoples is always impressive. Sonny Styles has been with the ones almost exclusively at will, and CJ Hicks has been with the twos and getting some time with the ones when they go to a 3 linebacker set. Jermaine Matthews has been outstanding at the number 2 nickel behind Jordan Hancock. Had a pick 6 of Julian Sayin, I think, on Sunday. They're just some of the things that stand out, and it's kind of a disappointing practice when Jeremiah Smith doesn't do anything amazing, and that was the case when I was watching yesterday.
Steve, what did you see?
I would say a lot of the same things. I think, my take on the offensive line is seems like every series it's a different 5 guys kind of mixed and matched in different roles. And I think Hinsman has also rep some at center, so he's kind of involved there too. But yeah, to me, they are trying to find combinations that work well together. And I don't think, I think 3 of the jobs are pretty well set with Simmons at left tackle, Jackson at left guard, and Fryer at right tackle. And it's just trying to figure out that combination at center and right guard that is going to suit them and do the best that they can. I think I'm very impressed with the overall depth of the team. I can't think of one area of the team that is deficient. That is where you just sit there and say, man, how are they going to make it through the season with this at this position? There's nothing like that. And I made a comment to, I think it was Joey Kaufman of the Columbus Dispatch, and Bill Rabinowitz, his partner with the Dispatch. I said, this could be a year where the Pat Hand just walks, just runs the table. And that kind of, it flew over Joey's head. He's like, Pat Hand, what does that mean? It's like in 5-card draw, you're standing pat. You like the 5 cards that they dealt you, and you're standing pat. You've got what you need to win it all. And I'm not convinced that they can't win it all with what they've got. So I think it's a definite possibility. I think that they're going to be in the running for it. And I can't really think of a major deficiency on this team. The only thing that I keep coming back to is they were working on 2 different fields. And part of that, they were doing some 7-on-7 on the field to my left, where Patrick Murphy was watching for us. And then I was watching the pass rush drills on my right. And I'm also kind of my head on a swivel, standing between them, watching the 7-on-7, jotting it down, and watching the pass rush. I think the offensive line held its own by and large, but there were a few plays where the defense got the better of the offense during that drill, which is going to happen. Say they run 50 plays, the offense is going to stalemate them probably 30, 35 times. The defense is going to just beat them right off the jump probably 5 or 10 times, and the others you could, say, a draw, whatever. So I think between that drill and then watching some 11 on 11 where quarterbacks, Devin Brown most notably, is backed up in the pocket and throwing off his back foot kind of under duress, and you hate to see that. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. And he did float a ball out there that was picked in one of those things under duress. And so, is the pass protection 100% locked down where it needs to be? No, but also consider who they're going against. Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, Salik Williams, Kenyatta Jackson was fabulous yesterday coming off the edge. Mitchell Melton looked pretty good. So they got some dudes over there on the defensive line, and that's making life a little bit more difficult for the offense. But we can get into some of these different positions and more in-depth thoughts. But that was maybe the overarching only thing that kind of gave me just the slightest bit of pause. And we know how bad it was last year against Missouri, how they didn't play great against Michigan. But I think it's going to be better than that. But I want to still see them take that next step to where it's locked down.
Yeah, and I don't think we saw the offensive line with the actual ones yesterday, because they were split with Austin Siereveld was with the first group, and he's going to be a backup at guard. And Donovan Jackson and Josh Simmons were with one group, and Josh Fryer and was with another group. So it's never on Saturday they had some moments where it was like the full five, but I don't know that we saw much of that yesterday. And so that helps explain why there are some rough moments, other than the fact that the defensive line is pretty good. And they want to see, because they're going to run into that this year where somebody has to go out for a play. So Austin Siereveld, you go in. George Fitzpatrick, you go in, where they have to be able to handle that. And you get some snaps with guys that you aren't normally with, with Zen Mahalski playing next to Donovan Jackson, stuff like that, where it wouldn't be the first time they're doing that. So that's what a lot of that was yesterday, and what it has been through the split fields. Now, I think Ryan Day said after day one, when we talked to him, they're going to start to go away from the split fields, because they need to just really hone in on who is going to be their two quarterbacks that they're really focused on. And I'm interested to see how that battle actually between Julian Sain and Devin Brown works out.
So last season, I got to say that I probably watched, as I typically do, a great majority of Alabama's SEC games. I don't remember Seth McLaughlin having snapping issues, and I pretty much watched the Auburn and Georgia games wire to wire, and then suddenly in the Rose Bowl, he has these issues. So I'm assuming he's been asked about this and what happened that night, and whether that's something he needs to work on.
That's just it was a communication issue, basically, him and Jalen Milroe. And so he's been fine. There's one high snap that has been publicized, and he had to go run a lap for it. But other than that, I haven't seen anything bad from him. I have not seen him lose a one-on-one rep. And I saw him each of these 2 days stone Ty Hamilton. So he to me, he's the guy there, and I don't know that it's actually close at this point. And he's done everything that they've asked. And we've seen some bad snaps from a handful of centers, and I'd say he's been by far the most consistent. And it's not really a concern to me.
I don't think that there's anything that you have to get too alarmed about just yet. 4 days into camp, I see people wringing their hands about McLaughlin and that Howard has been named. I mean, he hasn't been named or anything yet as the starting quarterback. It just seems to me like it's going to trend that way. If everything is kind of headed the direction it's headed, that's where it's going to be. But again, as I say, I'm tremendously impressed with what I've seen from Judkins in the open field and Henderson. They are both primed and ready to have a great season. And the two young freshmen, James Peoples and Sam Williams-Dixon, the moment does not seem to be too big for either one of them. We'll see how they handle fumbling issues if that ever rears its ugly head. I don't really think that it has yet, but for freshmen, ball security can sometimes be a major concern, and we'll see how those guys deal with that. But so far, so good. I've been impressed. Wide receiver, we know what Igbuka can do. We think Smith's going to be great. I agree with Tony that, now he needs to deliver at a high level every day. And I think Brian Hartline's coaching him hard to get him to be at that level. But to me, Tate has been one of the unqualified success stories so far. Brandon Ennis caught a long touchdown pass yesterday. That was good to see. Jaden Ballard made an amazing play yesterday where the DB was all over him, with his back to the ball, and the ball was underthrown. So Ballard reached over the DB, tipped it up to himself, kind of set it like a setter at volleyball, and then snatched it out of the air with one hand and tucked it away for like a 40-yard gain. And that was one heck of a play. And we know he can make the hard-to-make catches. Can he make the easy ones? That's the big question there. So, and then you've got Bryson Rogers is a guy who pops up every now and then. David Adolph, a walk-on. They've got a really good-looking freshman, number 84, Dorian Williams from Cincinnati Princeton. I don't know anything about him, but I guess he's a walk-on, and he could play a lot of places, it looks like to me. So that's a good find. And Mylan Graham, the true freshman, he stood out to me the first 2 or 3 days that I was there as well. I missed the Saturday practice. I was there Thursday, Friday, missed Saturday, and then was there for yesterday. And we got to see maybe 30, 40 plays of 7-on-7 and 40, 50, 60 plays of 11-on-11. I mean, it was a lot in one day to see all that and to gain some pretty good insight into who's making plays. Again, the defense was not tackling guys to the ground, not being overly aggressive with ball carriers, just kind of, thudding up with them, giving them a hit, not trying to probably the best violence I saw was when Sean Judkins got loose on a run on my field, and poor freshman Jalen McLean came over to kind of thud him up, and Judkins said, "Nope, not thudding me up, bro." And just as Bill Rafter would say, with the discard. I mean, it was he sent him sprawling, So you're telling me I can't tackle him, but he can knock me straight to the ground with his stiff arm. Next time I'll be better prepared. That was one. And one tough note yesterday toward the end of practice, JT Tuimoloau went down. He was down on the field for about 2 minutes where he eventually got up, stood up, walked to the sideline. Not sure what happened with him, and hopefully he'll be walking under his own power, walking into the team hotel today. And I think we get a briefing tomorrow with somebody, and we'll see if we can, we'll be around practice enough to see if he's coming off the practice field or, where things are at with JT tomorrow. But that was one somber note yesterday, although it looks like everything was good. So